Hello Taurus, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements, looking at your recent past, your current energy, and your immediate future, answering the question, what do you need to know right now in order to move forward in alignment with your higher self? Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and to leave what does not. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. You guys are going to have to bear with me today. I am in the middle of fighting off a cold, so my voice is all messed up. But let's see what we've got here for you guys. Let's start with this recent past for you, Taurus. So I apologize for my raspy voice and my sniffliness. I'll try to keep it to a minimum. All right, recent past for Taurus. What has Taurus been dealing with? Surrender to the divine. Meditate and contemplate. Okay. Okay, so this is definitely this energy of there's a lot of stress in it. A lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of dealing with the unknown. And this is definitely this energy of like, trying really hard to find a solution, right? Which when we're in the middle of stress, of course, we want to find a solution. And we search and we push and we control. And a lot of times what we don't realize is we're actually blocking the answer or the right path or whatever the case might be. And a lot of times the best thing that we can do is to kind of take a step back. And instead of trying harder, we trust more. So I feel like this is definitely this energy of, feeling lost, feeling overwhelmed, maybe even feeling stuck, not really knowing which direction, which way to go. And instead of trying to force an answer, I feel like it's about letting go and trusting that the right answer will come. It doesn't mean like do nothing in the sense where you just, sit on your couch and binge watch TV. That's not what I'm saying, although there's a time and place for that. It's do nothing in the sense of, sitting in stillness. And you have this meditate and contemplate card, allowing yourself to just be with that energy of the unknown, because a lot of times when we surrender to the unknown, that's when we start to find our way through it. Current energy here for Taurus. But I know what it feels like. When you're stressing about a solution, whether it's finances or the solution to a relationship problem or whatever, of course you want it to you want to figure it out and you want to have all of those answers, but sometimes trying to force it actually blocks the answer itself. So where's Taurus sitting right now? The energy is gaining momentum and the end of a tough cycle approaches. So you're closing out a difficult cycle here. One of the things that keeps coming through, it came through when I pulled this and it came through when I pulled your current energy cards, is that the answer is different than what you would typically think, or like the solution is different than what you would typically think. So it feels like the answer that you're looking for, that's why it's not going to be found up here through the forcing and the controlling, because it's going to be different. It's like outside of your comfort zone, or, different than what you've done in the past. And I think that that's why you're being asked to surrender, because if we do different things, we experience different outcomes, right? If we repeat the same decisions, we experience the same outcomes. So if you want to step into new cycles, you have to do things a little bit differently. I don't know what this is talking about. This feels very vague, but we'll dive into tarot and get more on all of this. It's like the difficult cycle you're in does come to a close, but it comes to a close in a way that's different than you expect. And I think that's one of the main things coming through here. A fiery climax approaches, a personal issue reaches resolution, and then prosperity lies ahead. So, however, whatever happens here happens for your highest good. And it aligns you with the desire that you want, the love that you want, the abundance that you want. But it's going to take a different form than expected. And it happens very suddenly. It's like, whoa. And that's the thing, is it's like, I didn't even think about this. Like, that's what this feels like. I didn't even think about this. I didn't even know this was an option. I didn't even know, like, that's what this feels like. It's kind of like a surprise. Feels like a surprise from the universe in some way. And that's why, like, right now, it's not about trying to force and control an answer, because the more that you do that, the more that you're going to, you're going to try to make decisions based, and this is obvious, right? But you're going to try to make decisions based on what you immediately know. And since this is different, it's almost like you can't force and control this. You just have to let this happen. And I think that's really hard for anybody, right? When you're stressed and worried. But I do definitely feel like it kind of feels like the universe has a surprise for you. I don't know. Like, that's the vibe that I'm getting here. It's positive. I mean, it's aligned with prosperity. Let's see. Overall theme of this reading for Taurus. You don't want to force and control, because if you force and control, you'll repeat. You'll repeat past cycles. Yeah, okay. Overall theme. Air, everything's up in the air. There's a lot up in the air, which has you overthinking. And then you have guides. It's almost like I don't say this a lot. I'm a big fan on, focusing on what you can control, right? And I think that you're in a current position where there's not a whole lot that you can control. And this kind of feels like this reading is trying to tell you, like, your spiritual team has got this. Like, the universe has got this. Your guides have got this. Like, you don't need to stress about the who, what, when, where, how, why, what's going to look like, how's it going to plan out. Like, it feels like it's going to happen exactly as it needs to happen. And the only thing that you are required to do, which is, like, I feel like really hard for the collective that I'm talking to, is to let go and trust. And again, it doesn't mean do nothing, but, showing up, focusing on what you can control, and trusting that the rest is taken care of is really important for you right now. But I know how hard that is. Control is something that I have struggled with for most of my journey. I think it's a very natural human thing. Survival, right, is all about control. What does Taurus need to know about this recent past energy? Surrender to the divine, meditate, and contemplate. What has Taurus been dealing with? Oof. Oof. Ten of Swords. Page of Wands. Ah, okay. Wheel of Fortune in reverse with the Knight of Swords. Taurus, for lack of a better way of saying this, I feel like you've been screwed over a lot. Or you've experienced a lot of situations that just are incredibly unfair. Like, I feel like this has been a recurring theme in your life, where it's just like, I try to make good things happen, or I have these good intentions, and I keep experiencing the Ten of Swords. I keep, getting knocked down. And I think that, I know from experience how hard it is when you feel like you're showing up and you feel like you're doing everything right, and it just doesn't seem to matter or make a difference because it just feels like you end up right back in the same place. And I think that this is something that has happened to you. I mean, with the Page of Wands here, I mean, this is speaking to inner child energy. So something that you've dealt with possibly for as long as you can remember, or it just feels like the world is out to get you. And I mean, yeah, it's challenging energy for sure. And I think that when you go through a difficult period for a long enough time, you stop believing, it's easy to stop believing that things can improve and that things can get better. This feels like it's talking about one specific area of your life, like specifically about your finances or specifically about love. I do feel like things are changing though. I feel like through these things that you've been through, especially with like this Ace of Cups, I feel like you've done a lot of growing and healing and learning. Like you've really taken what you've been through and you've said, like, I'm not going to let this define me. You know, I am going to keep showing up with an open mind, an open heart. And I will say, like, I think that that's one of the most beautiful things about being a human. I think it's really easy to let the world turn you cold, right? When you've been through a lot. And I don't feel like I'm speaking to a collective that let that happen. I feel like I'm speaking to a collective that has continued to show up for themselves and for the life that they deserve despite the things that they've been through. And I think you're going to see shifts. I really do. I really, really do. And I see this in this future energy with the universe has a surprise for you. But that doesn't mean that it's easy. And I definitely don't think that you've deserved these things that you've been going through. But let's see where you're at right now. Current energy for Taurus. Feels like recently things have been particularly difficult though. Four of Cups, Magician in reverse, and then there's the Eight of Wands with the energy is gaining momentum. You know, things start to shift like right before we lose all hope. And I've seen this I've seen this pattern in my own life and the lives of others. You know, typically, I mean, and it's a saying for a reason, right? It's darkest before dawn. That is a saying for a reason, where it just feels so hopeless and nothing is working out, and I can't seem to break out of this difficult energy. It truly does feel the hardest before the light starts to shine. You know, you have the end of a tough cycle approaches, and when we're in the end of a cycle, it's where the majority of our fear lives. I've always said that the closer you are to closing a cycle, the harder the devil attacks. You know, the more fear we experience, the more self-doubt that we experience, the more anger and frustration at the universe that we experience. And you're in that energy now. I feel like you've been dealing with a lot. You're still dealing with a lot, and you're kind of over it. But here's the thing. If you try and force a solution right now, if you try to force yourself out of this, what you might not realize is that you might force yourself back into the same cycle that you're trying to break out of. Which is why I feel like right now is a time to really allow yourself to process everything that this is asking you to process. All the frustration, the grief, process it all. And then give it over. You know, one of my favorite prayers is, Spirit, I hand you my doubts, fears, anxieties, and insecurities for healing and transmutation. You know, giving that over allows you to understand I'm not bypassing it. I have to feel it. I have to experience it. I have to process it. But I also can trust that these experiences that I'm going through are preparing me. They're setting me up for something good, right? I'm not stuck here forever, because we get stuck in the difficult periods when we believe the difficult periods are going to last forever. But I feel like you really are coming out of a difficult period here, a pretty major transformation. So instead of believing the fear, the doubt, the insecurity that's inevitable, I mean, you're gonna experience it, you're gonna feel it. Instead of believing it, be like, I'm here in this moment, I have these feelings, I have these emotions, they're valid, they're real, but I give them over. I trust that there's a purpose. I trust that this is leading me to something better. Spirit, you got this. Because that's what I feel like is really coming through, is your divine team saying, hey, we got this. You don't have to worry about it. Like, stop trying to force, stop trying to control, stop trying to make things work, make things happen. If a relationship isn't working, stop trying to make it work. If, this path, if it just, you keep, hitting a dead end, stop trying to push, stop trying to control, let go, and a new path is going to appear. New options are going to appear. And that's why this energy is so different, because it's like, again, going back to what I said, it's like, I didn't know this existed. I didn't know this was an option. I didn't know this could happen this way. Like, if you're trying to force and control and make things happen, if you're trying to force this relationship, force this person to love you and to care about you and to be what you need them to be, and just time after time, they're not. If you're trying to force, this path in a career where it's just like you're not seeing any progress, and it's just, this one thing after another, and you just feel beaten down. Like, stop trying to force. Stop trying to control. Let it go. Give it over. And trust that the right next step is going to appear. And whatever that looks like is going to be exactly what's going to lead you to where you want to go. But you can't see that next step if you're forcing what you think has to happen. So what does Taurus need to know moving forward? One of the most important aspects of creating the things that align with us the most is forgetting what we think we need, what we think has to happen, how we think things need to play out. And to trust that however things play out is going to be in alignment with our highest good. And the more that we're able to really embody that, the easier it is for us to manifest things, because we're no longer getting in our own way, and we're letting the universe do its thing. There's the justice. There's the justice. Getting what you deserve. Justice. Payoff. Payoff for the things that you've been through. Death. It's all about the ending of the cycle, which we saw. I knew this was coming. This feels like a relief. There's the 10 of Cups. But this is because you stop chasing. You stop rushing. You stop trying to make it happen. There's a difference between focusing on what is in your control and letting things happen, and trying to make things happen. The more that we try to make things happen, the more we get in our own way. Because when we're trying to make it happen, we inherently believe it's not going to happen unless we, do everything that we can all the time, regardless of how we feel, to try to make it happen. That's misalignment. That's being out of alignment. That is forcing and controlling and doing everything yourself. Creation, manifestation, it is a co-creation partnership. It requires both your buy-in and the universe's buy-in. The universe is bought in. You have to buy into the belief that the universe is also there to support you and to guide you. And I know when you feel like you've been screwed over for so many times, for so long, I know it is hard to believe that the universe has your back. I am not saying that it's not. But the more that you can embody the belief that you are fully guided and fully supported, the more you are going to watch literal miracles happen in your life. And I do feel like Spirit's trying to align you with some of the best things you've ever experienced, but it's happening different than you expect. So you have to let go of what you think you need to allow it to take place so that you can have the things that you're looking for. Again, the universe has a surprise for you. All right, Taurus, I'm going to hop on over to the extended. We're going to dive deeper into this, looking at what you need to do right now in order to move forward in alignment with your higher self. So just diving a little bit deeper, looking at the tangible tangible advice, then I've got an advice card to pull for you at the very end. Any information for that is in the description box below. Before I end this video, I just want to reiterate that I am hosting a Manifesting Financial Freedom workshop on September 19th. That's a Friday at 6 p.m. Central Time. It is a live workshop. However, if you want to be a part of this, but you can't make it live, I mean, I know some of you guys literally live in different time zones. If you purchase a ticket, you will also receive access to all of the materials and the recording that will be sent out the day after. So that will be September 20th. This is a workshop that's been a really long time coming for me. I used to be a financial advisor back in what I now call my past life, and now I still help people with that aspect of their lives, but in a very different capacity. So this workshop is kind of taking a little bit of a blend of the practical approaches to finance as well as the spiritual to help you create the financial freedom that you truly deserve. If there's anything that I've learned, it's that financial freedom is actually incredibly easy to manifest, but we have, as always, beliefs and limitations that we've placed on ourselves, that the world has placed on ourselves, that has limited what we believe we are capable of experiencing in our financial world. So this workshop's diving into all of that. The information for that is at the very top of the description box below. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to shoot me an email or drop me a comment, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. All right. Thank you so much, Taurus, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. All right. Bye, Taurus.